Tonight's episode is brought to you by Goodwood-Digby Distillery. Hard to pronounce, easy to drink. Find out more at goodwooddigby.com.
Just give the average Joe an insight of what's it like playing at this level.
Friday night's always been a personal favourite of mine. You've got the long weekend. Everyone's just wanting that release, that stimulation, just to watch a macabre sport of gladiatorial confrontation. And you feed off that as athletes. Like, you love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Alright, it's drop kick-off time, instant reaction to the Wallaroos World Cup, and the final one that we're going to record because the Wallaroos are out, suffering a 46-5 defeat to Canada at Ashton Gate in Bristol, the quarterfinals. And yeah, look, this was one-sided. This was pretty one-sided. First reflections on the game, like, the scoreline won't reflect it, but defensively, pretty solid in the first half. Like, the scramble... Sorry, let me rephrase that. The scramble was good. Canada just got through too easy. Like, dude, this is a team which is legit. And if I can convince you anything out of this pod... Well, there's going to be two things. The second one I'll get to later. Canada are legit World Cup hopes. Like, they are so good around the park. Because they're known for their pack being amazing. But their outside backs and just their backline in general were electric. Properly electric in the sense of any half chance they just nailed. They made the right option, they picked the right pass, they kept throwing the ball through their hands and just creating space in that first half. And they just ran away with a 31-5 lead at halftime, and it was basically game over from there. Which is remarkable when considering it was 5-5 after a Desi Miller try in about the 7th or 8th minute of the game, and you're kind of thinking, alright, this is kind of the start they got against England, maybe? Nah, this Canada team's legit. And it's one of those things, it seems weird from an outside perspective if you're listening and thinking, wait, Canada are shit in the men's game, how are they so good at the women's game? Dude, they put all their funding and resources into this, and it shows. And even still, they're a crowd-funded team, but their quality is across the park. And so much so that most of these players play in the Premier League, they play consistent minutes, and yet it shows. Sophie de Goody as a second row was unfair. She was unreal and deserving player of the match. Their coach, Kevin Rotier, after the game was basically saying they played numberless brand of rugby. It shows. She was just breaking lines as a second rower and kicking goals, which is unfair. Even like Karen Paquin, the 38-year-old who scores one of the tries of the tournament late, she beats 4 or 5 people and scores a solo try. Freak. And then, yeah, just the class of outside backs was too much for the Wallaroos to handle, which, look, when you come off playing the world number 1 England and you throw everything at them, after a week where you've gone well into the tank to draw with the USA, to an extent of you needing a 76-minute try to Eva Kapani just to get to this point of quarterfinals. Yeah, look, I can accept that they'd played their World Cup finals beforehand. Like, that's just was bound to happen. And look, that's probably what showed there. I mean, Canada cruised through the group stages, and it was almost that question of, has Canada faced any hard opponents yet? Like, are they battle-tested? Well, ultimately what happened was Australia, I think, just faced too many. They faced too many battle-hardened games over the last fortnight, and it just showed in parts of that first half where it was just too much to come back from. Which leaves the Wallaroos in an interesting spot. I mean, firstly, in the search for a new coach, Jo Yap said well in advance that she was staying in England after this World Cup, and I've got so much time for Jo Yap. She's one of to lift the curtain here, she's one of the nicest people within coaching right now. Like, honestly, her, like, the two Joes right now are just two lovely people. But her in particular, because, again, someone who's just sort of starting out in the first international job. Again, I was there for the first press conference. I've been sort of riding the journey with her. And it's, honestly, it's been a pleasure watching her grow and watching this team grow, like, at the same time. And also something nice when that person appreciates that you've been on the journey as well. Like, that's, again, I spoke to her after the game, and that's all I'll keep it to. Like, it's because that sort of stays within us. But it's nice when that sort of, you go on the journey with that person, they appreciate you going on the journey with them. She'll have no trouble finding a job here. If for some reason John Mitchell decides to leave after the World Cup, if England choose to win, and here you go, choose to win, like they have a choice. If England win and he decides there's no other challenge for him, Jo Yap will be heavily favoured to take that role, and she would thrive in it. She's, again, a great coach and just brings a different style to this team, which has really flourished, and ultimately leaves us in a position where, quarterfinal loss hurts. One, it's against the world number 2. You lose 2 games in tournaments against the world number 1 and world number 2. Like, you can hold your heads high hold your head high around that. But most importantly for me, which is, there was 12 out of 23 in that team today who are 25 and under. That's a remarkable stat, particularly when the World Cup is coming home to Australia in 2029 in 4 years' time. This is what this whole campaign feels like to be building to. Like, Eddie Jones said it in 2023 that, I'm building for a World Cup in 27. And you're like, all right, mate, sure. This team is legitimately built for that. Like, you look at that spine of Sam Wood at 9, Maleka at 10, Hawes at 15. Wood was the oldest at 21, 22 years old. There were, again, 12 people under 25, and quality starters as well. Not only the halves, the 3 that I mentioned, but your Desiree Mills of the world, Maya Stewart, Piper Duck. These people with 30, 40 caps already, like genuine stars. Caitlin Leaney, who I think, if I was to make the call right now, because we can now that their season's over, and I was to put a bookie came to me and said, put a market together, who's your favourite to win Wallaroos Player of the Year? Genuinely, I think it's Caitlin Leaney. I think she's been unreal this year. Sure, Desi Miller has all the tries. Caitlin Hawes has been incredible attacking-wise. The impact of Caitlin Leaney cannot be understated. She's been incredible, and it's clear to see why she was co-captain. But those 3 and the wider group that, again, includes the 12 on the field today, but also Waiaria Ellis, Numa Maleka, people like, even if you wanted to delve into the sevens pathways that we have, any of those sort of last named Levi perhaps, there's a solid core of players there. Tabua Tuanakavadra, another one as well. There is such a solid crew that if you keep them together, if you keep that core group of 15 to 20 players who've been moulded in this system, getting more game time, however that may be, dude, 2029, watch out.
At Green and Gold Rugby, we love nothing more than celebrate a great Aussie success story. And Goodwood Digby Distillery is one of the most exciting ones around. They're shaking things up, literally, by maturing their spirits in Aussie hardwood cubes instead of old school barrels. With infused flavours of ironbark, jarrah, even Tasmanian blackwood, that's about as uniquely Aussie as it gets. Not into malt? No worries. They've got a whole range, from Australian gins to grey gum vodka and even blackwood rum. No matter what you taste, there's something for everyone. Just head to goodredigby.com to place your order. And here's a special offer for Green and Gold Rugby fans. Use code GAGR20 at checkout for 20% off, or click the link in the episode description. Goodwood Digby, that's good, ra, dig, B. Hard to pronounce, real easy to drink. And remember, drink responsibly.
Because, I mean, England will always be good. England, they have the system in play. But even Canada's not a professional program. They got crowd-funded, but they showed that what you can do with a golden generation of talent. We could be having that same way in Australia. And you have people like Maleka who are 20 years old with 25 caps. You keep exposing them to more club footy, more test footy, they're going to keep getting better. And that's what's sort of exciting is, like, you walk away from a loss like this, and again, a 41-point loss, and Yeah, it sucks, but you kind of know that this is kind of the epilogue of their story, which I mean, and that's the hope, right? Like, this is the prologue, not the prologue. This is the epilogue of a certain chapter in the Wallaroos history, but the prologue is going to be so much better when you get the new coach in who has a bunch of young talent in, that is already used to test football, has the confidence that comes from this World Cup, and are ready to shine. And that's going to be huge when that home World Cup comes. Because, like, it's been an honour to be here and actually see a nation get behind it, a Women's World Cup. Like, I saw it in some capacity in 2022 in New Zealand. But England just goes to another level, right? Like, I mean, 17,000 in Ashton Gate today, the home of the Bristol Bears. It'll be sold out tomorrow when I'm recording this, for England-Scotland, which you may or may not know the result of. I'm not sure when this is going up, but we'll wait and see. They've got behind this World Cup like nothing else, and it sets the bar, and it almost sets the challenge to Australia that by 2029, and when we have good things going through rugby, which is what's happening right now, even though the results of the last 24 hours have kind of sucked, particularly for someone who got up at 5 a.m. to watch it, and I'm now recording this at 11 p.m. It's been a long day, but honestly, there are some good signs in this World Cup. There are good signs in this World Cup that you can take into the next couple of years and really build a strong foundation for a team that will be massive dark horses when it comes to 2029, but potentially have the talent to really pull something off special. The question is, who coaches this team heading forward? Sione Fukafuka, the USA coach, who was the Wallaroos assistant, he's departed his post with the Eagles. That could be an option. The other one, and this is kind of in the same sort of realm as Joe Schmidt of, it'd be nice, but I'm just not sure how viable it is, but God, it'd be nice. Andy Friend, came back to Australian rugby, was coaching Super Rugby W with the ACT Brumbies. I'm not sure if he's keen to go back into a high-stressed environment like the Wallaroos, but honestly, if he wants to, blank check time, pay him. There's also a couple other options. Do you go with one of the assistants right now? Do you look for a Black Ferns assistant? Try and replicate what worked with Joe and try and find the next promising female coach within the English system or New Zealand system. You'll wait and see. But it's one of those points where we sit here, Wallaroos are out the quarterfinals, and I'm still very, very confident about this team's future because of what I've seen over the past 3 or 4 weeks. What I've seen over the past year. There is some genuine world-class talent coming through this program that has just been exposed on a stage like this and have thrived. The Wallaroos go home quarterfinal almost in the exact same fashion as they did 3 years ago, but it feels like there's a different tone around this team. You have again, people who had no idea about certain young talent enamored by it. They are absolutely all behind these people, and that's essentially going to be the challenge to the Australian public is get behind this Wallaroos side because there is so much talent in it, and they are lovely people behind the scenes as well. If I can offer anything about my experience here and being around this group for an entire World Cup cycle, which, let's face it, not many people can say, let alone journalists. They're generally good people as well with awesome stories. I would highly recommend, if you want to sort of beat the bandwagon, get involved with them now, because when 2029 rolls around, I'm hoping that the rising tide of the game really builds some great support around the Wallaroos because they deserve it and they're just an awesome team. So, yeah, that's the instant reactions done for Wallaroos. If you want to hear my thoughts about the Wallabies v Argentina, you probably don't because it's never good when you wake up early to a game and it ends like that, but I'm sure we'll expand it when the sort of Bledisloe Cup starts rolling around in 2 weeks. But yeah, that'll do me for World Cup wraps. If you're looking for a prediction of who wins it from here, I generally reckon Canada are a great shout against New Zealand next Saturday Australian time in the semi-final. I reckon they can knock them off, which would be a Canada-England final. I think I've said before, I think I said on our pod earlier in the week, that given their investment in the game, England feels like the right choice, but you can't ignore how good Canada have been so far. So I think if I was prediction on the line, it's an England-Canada final, and maybe England just get up, but said with no confidence. Again, by the time we're recording this, there are still 2 quarters to play. France-Ireland in the early afternoon here, or late Sunday night in Australia, depending on where you are. That's probably your upset watch. France are good, but Ireland just have a bit of spark, bit of something about them, so they could pull an upset. And then England-Scotland, England will run away with that probably. So, yeah, it's been a fun tournament to cover. And yeah, if you've been listening to any of these instant reactions, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will continue doing these throughout, leading with the Bledisloe in 2 weeks' time. So, thank you very much for listening, and have a good day. I'm going to go put my feet up and get ready for a long-ass flight home. Peace.
We've got another week to get back on the horse and take that horse to the water, and you can ask that horse, you can say, hey horsey, do you want to have a drink, or do you want to swim? Yeah, and it's up to that horse to then realise what he wants to do in his life. So we're looking forward to, like I say, getting back on that horse.
And are you looking forward to getting back on the horse 6 months since we last saw you?
I don't like horses, I can't ride.
Give myself an uppercut.
Tonight's episode was brought to you by Good Digby Distillery, uniquely Australian and proud of it. Cheers to supporting local. Visit goodredigby.com.